This is James Helder for iFL TV. I'm in Kiel today in Germany, head of Arthur Abraham versus Paul Smith. With me I've got Paul Smith's trainer Joe Gallagher. Alright Joe?
Hi James, you okay mate?
I'm alright mate, I'm alright.
Enjoying the tea? Tea and scones?
I didn't like the milk so much out here.
No, just for semi-skimmed?
Milked a cat to get that milk, I think. Just didn't taste like the wine.
Tell you what, Tommy Milker, you're milking it over here mate. I've seen you in that buffet of food before pal. To let know you're on the poverty line.
That's uncalled for.
Caviar, the lot, you've seen that didn't you?
Listen, if you give me your room number, I'll eat caviar. That's how we work. How is everything going right now? It's Thursday today, day off for the lads in preparation of the weigh-in tomorrow. Can you talk me through stuff a little bit?
Yeah, Sam's just been a really quiet day. Been out for a walk with the lads. Went out for some lunch. We sussed out the restaurant where to go to eat tomorrow night. We found a nice little Italian. We all had a trial run in there with a bit of pasta and spaghetti bol, and yeah, everything's all right. Everything's ticked, and we're all just ready now, waiting for the weigh-in at 4 o'clock tomorrow. It's so like half a mile down the road in a Bookies, I think. Is that right? A bookmakers. I thought it was a sporting shop, yeah, but it's in a Bookies. So you can imagine that there, the amount of Scousers and people coming over from the UK going to a bookmakers. They'll be in heaven, won't they, over there, and for the weigh-in. Joe, it's a really nice, quiet town, Kiel. When we were walking back before, we just said to each other, they don't know what's going to hit them, do they? We've seen pictures all day on Twitter, on Instagram, of everybody coming over on the planes and on the coaches, and it's just like, wow, it's wow, we didn't realise so many people would be coming over for this fight, and I think Kiel's got to brace itself because they don't know definitely what's got to hit them. James, look at it round here, so peaceful and quiet, this hotel. I tell you what, 9 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock tonight, it ain't going to be like this in here, is it mate? So,
great. But
like I say, it's all good, and the support we've been getting at home, and people text messaging, wishing Paul good luck, myself good luck, Everett Thaxton, Johnny Eames, you know what I mean? It's great when you feel you've got the support of your fellow peers and people back home behind you. It really does give you a lift, and Paul and Matthew Macklin have had great support and great good luck messages here today.
Can you give us an insight into Paul Smith's mind state at this moment in time, how he's feeling and how he's preparing?
Do you know what, Paul, each day as we're going on, I think it's like anything, it's you'll take one day at a time. We did the open workout the other day, obviously they're seizing each other up. They did the presser yesterday, they had the head-to-head, the tops off. And I know we all look at Arthur Abraham and go, wow, look at the size of him. But I'm telling you now, I know Abraham's been in with your Andre Wards, your Frotchers and your Taylors, big fighters. But he'll be looking at Paul Smith and thinking, I didn't think he was that big. Because Paul doesn't really look that big on TV, do you understand? Not height-wise, I know many people give him stick from width-wise sometimes, do you know what I mean? But he's, and I just said to Paul, he'll be looking at you, do you know what I mean? Don't you be intimidated by him? And Paul saying, he's just nice and relaxed, watching films. Son of Anarchy he's really into, and he's switched off, and his missus and his kids and his dad, they're all over later on tonight, and things are going, Joe, things are going too well. That's what's worrying me. Things are going too well. The training, the sparring, and you just think, oh, it was a bit like this with Macklin in Germany. We had a fantastic camp, and this didn't go well with the Stern, but Paul Smith over here, everything's just going, in a cliche, swimmingly well.
Did you find the remarks made by Arthur Abraham's trainer, Uwe Webner, at the press conference?
What's it called again?
Uwe Webner? Is that a good job?
Yeah, it is, mate.
Did you find what he said at the press conference quite strange in terms of he's finding it hard to motivate Arthur Abraham, and if he does suffer defeat, he's not to blame? What did you make of that?
Yeah, but listen, we were sat here, and I said to Paul, we can all get carried away and listen to it, but you don't understand. Himself is a world-class coach, numerous world champions. Arthur Abraham's 19th world fight, they've been in the Super Six, they've been up against mind games against like Jermaine Taylor, Andre Ward, Carl Froch. They're experts at it. Most will be looking at me and Paul's first title fight. I'm not really that experienced at world title level. The most will be thinking the wet behind the ears, these lots. So it's very easy to get, oh, see that, do you hear this, do you hear that? And it wasn't necessarily the case. It could be just mind games to get you falling into that. But like you say, when the trainer, I was watching Arthur Abraham's body language, it didn't seem to sit well with him. As soon as his trainer says, well listen, if he loses on Saturday night, you can't be blaming me. I have a very hard job trying to motivate Arthur Abraham, and he's been around a long time now, and if I retire, I think he'll retire. And then Arthur Abraham's talking about, well, if he finishes, I'll finish. And then they had a little montage on the big screen, and it was all about Arthur Abraham as a child and where he'd got to, and it was like a retirement party, and it could be all mind psychology and games like that, but we're not buying into that or buying into it neither. We're training for the best Arthur Abraham that fought Andrew Ward, Carl Froch, and he said himself, Arthur Abraham has trained really hard, and he's overestimated Paul Smith, and that's a huge compliment to Paul to show that type of threat they feel Paul Smith is for this fight. But like you say, it was a few mind games yesterday, but like Paul said, if I was sat there and saying I couldn't motivate him, he's a lazy ass, it'd be like we'd be having a right set to at the head press conference at their table. Like, so listen, it might be honest there, it might just feel a bit of kidology, but there could be some truth into it. But it doesn't really matter what's happened in training. All that matters what happens when the bell goes on Saturday night, and he said, she said counts for nothing. Then it's a case of who lands, and lands the most and lands the hardest.
With this being Paul Smith's first world title fight, what do you say into his head to keep him focused so the big occasion doesn't, so he doesn't freeze on the big occasion, John?
Yeah, there is. Listen, I've tried to cover all avenues and everything for Paul going to this fight, and I do be worried sometimes. There's some stage fright. We've seen it with a lot of people. There's big accusations made of Brian Rose. Not digging him out, just that people seem to see that he froze on the big stage over in New York. Listen, you don't know what's going to happen to you till that moment. We used to see Frank Bruno walk into the ring making a sign across against Tyson. Reality smacks in and you get fight time. But this week, that reality of Paul Smith, he hasn't shown no nerves. It seems to have grown. The chest is coming out more, and the self-belief, you can see it inflating in him, that it's like, nah, Joe, I can really do this. And tomorrow we'll have the weigh-in. They had the head-to-head yesterday, and they both had the stare down, and you could just see Paul thinking, nah, I'm quite comfortable for this. And like I've said to Paul, like I mentioned earlier, not to repeat myself, he'll be looking at you, but you can be looking at him. And he does have a presence about him, Abraham. He does. We've seen him many years in that middleweights having great fights, and you're like across the ring going, shit, I'm fighting him now. And we can't be like that. It's like, nah, we can beat this man. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs and a head like anyone else. He's a little bit older. He's had all them hard fights. Father Time's got to catch up with him sooner or later. We're fresh on the world stage. Paul's not really been in any hard fights really for the last 12-18 months since the Dodson fight. So there should be a freshness and more mileage on the clock for Paul Smith for this fight. And hopefully, like I say, we don't get a bit of stage fright, and he stays composed, goes in there. And I fancy Abraham to come out and have a really fast start. He's known for being a slow starter, but I think he's got a role reverse. I think he's got to come out. He knows he's got experience, and he's got to try and use that to intimidate Paul and put Paul in his place quite early on. So we're expecting everything, but I just hope Paul Smith keeps his head, and I think he will do. And I just keep telling him all the time, listen, it's your time. It isn't a big upset that people are all on about. You've got a great chance, world-class amateur. Lost to Pascal in the Commonwealth Games, been with great trainers, Billy Graham, Buddy McGirt, been in contender. Paul's a very seasoned fighter, and he's been around the big stage with Ricky Hatton, his big fights in America. He was here in Germany with Macklin last time, and listen, the stars are aligning for Paul Smith on Saturday night. You just have that feeling. Listen, you can watch this time next week and go, Gallagher, what a prick. Hey, fucking I got that one wrong, didn't I? But listen, you call it how you call it at the time, don't you?
Also in action, iFL TV sponsor Matthew Macklin. Tough night's work from Macklin and the Spanish opponent in Yepes. Could you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's Jesse Ibez. Not a bad fighter, to be fair. Not a bad fighter. Very raw early on in his career. Seems to tighten up things. Accomplished. Throws shots well. Likes the right uppercut. And Matthew obviously is based in Marbella. He's never heard of him, and I keep saying to Matthew, oh, it's most probably been in your gym on the bag when you've not realised it, sussing you out, for getting an inside track on it. So I said, you've let your guard down there. So anyway, they took the fight, but listen, it's a big fight for Matthew. It's the last time he fought in Germany, obviously he was on the end of that big loss, controversial loss to Felix Sturm.
How many years ago was that, Joe?
That's 3 years.
You was in his corner?
Yeah, 3 years, so it's a case of, it's great to be working with Matthew again. I got on really well with him, and it was unfortunate that we didn't absolutely crack it that night, but to come back to the scene of the crime, as people say, and we've got to make sure that we get the decision this time and make sure this isn't some like a bogey ground for us. And I need Matthew to go in on Saturday night and put a good performance in, and geared up then for possibly a world title eliminator after this fight. But it's been great having him back in the gym again last night, and all this week, him and Paul Smith together. You got to remember they were on England together. They've been with Billy Graham together, with Buddy McGirt together, and it's just like friends reunited, watching two kids just going over old times, and they're bouncing off each other. The personalities, they're very infectious. Do you know what I mean? One bounces off another, and I just looked at him and I thought, God, you couldn't have Paul Smith more relaxed or Matthew Macklin. They're good for each other, and hopefully that continues now to fight night, and Matthew gets the fight underway, the show underway, and gets the win and crack on from there.
Will you be training Matthew Macklin long term now, or is it a case until Jamie Moore recovers from injury, or will he stay in the Gallagher gym now?
Well, listen, the reason Matthew left it in the first place, a couple of times, and Matthew said this, it's well documented. He lost to Felix Sturm. He then did a promotional deal with Lou DiBella in New York. He asked me to go with him, but I couldn't go with him at the time. I had a stable of fighters and I couldn't, so Matthew left him with Buddy McGirt. That fell apart. He came back and then he started training with me again for 5 or 6 weeks. 5 weeks out from his last fight, he asked me to go to Marbella with him. I said, I can't, Matthew, I've got too many. I had a big show in Manchester with Creek Crawler on it, and I said, I just can't do it. So he then turned to Jamie Moore, and obviously they had a good relationship. It was mad to think, in it. Two fighters had a great fight of the year and they came together and training. Great story. Unfortunate what's happened with Jamie, but Matthew came and asked me would I train for this fight, and I said yeah, no problem. We've got a great working relationship. Never had no fallouts, and we get on with each other well, and we know each other well. And listen, we'll see what happens after this Saturday night. But I'm employed to do a job, and my job is to make sure Matthew Macklin wins on Saturday night. After that, listen, Matthew Macklin does what Matthew Macklin wants. So no one knows what Matthew Macklin does, only Matthew Macklin. So listen, it could be me, it could be Jamie, you never know. Somebody else could be in the frame, do you understand? So, but listen, I'm employed for this job, and the main thing is to go and do the business on Saturday night.
Swifty Smith, Stephen Smith was on the card. We're now told to believe he's not going to be fighting. Yeah. Can you give me some clarification on what's gone on with that situation, please, John?
Yeah, he woke up yesterday morning in real bad pain in his lower groin area, in his lower back. Took him straight to the doctors. They found some blood in his urine and something uncommon with his kidneys. He was double over in pain, give him some antibiotics. He went back today and they've sent him straight to hospital, and he's got some kidney stones. So he's been told now he's got to, he's been in hospital all day today on blood tests and everything, so he's got to flush loads of water, antibiotics and cranberry, and he's got to go back again tomorrow as well. So Stephen was gutted, he was training well, he did a great pad session Monday night, really sharp, had a good fight, and it was another good fight for him where he was just keeping busy. This would have been his third fight this year, he would have been out again before the end of the year, so it would have been 4 fights this year for him, and an active fighter is what you want, and it's unfortunate this has happened, but it has now, so it's just Matthew and Paul, and hopefully Stephen makes a good recovery and gets on the big show before the end of the year. I think Eddie's assured him that they will do in a big fight, but first and foremost is, I always say, your health's your wealth. You've got to make sure you get healthy first and get better.
It's a real shame for him, obviously, because fighting on your brother's undercard of his world title shot, chances like that don't really come up that often.
No, it isn't. And not only that though, he would have stood him in good stead. Listen, the fact that he isn't it, he's having a test run himself. He's number 3 in the WBC. He's running around Paul now for Paul's world title fight. It's just like in the same way Paul was around Hatton and Matthew. Stephen's doing this now with Paul, and listen, next year could be Stephen Smith's time. So he's still learning and being around and seeing what's asked of him. I've asked of Paul, and he knows that'll be asked of him in the future. But Stephen's a funny kid, and regardless of his illness and his injuries, being a funny kid still, and keeping the mood in the camp very light.
Can you tell me again, just confirmation on the weigh-in? We believe it's 4 o'clock in Kiel tomorrow.
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock in Kiel tomorrow.
Do you know the exact location, Joe?
It's I've got it on my phone. It's TX.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah,
X-Tip. It's where?
X-Tip. Sport Wetton. It's a bookmakers.
Glad we got a real sports journalist with us today. Great.
Yeah, so that's it. And then I think for everyone asking, Paul Smith's ring walk is 5 to 11, which is German time. So that's 5 to 10 back home in England time. Matthew Macklin's on earlier on in the evening, so I'm sure everyone will see Matthew Macklin's result fire through on Twitter.
I believe with Swifty Smith not fighting, Macklin's going to be on first or second. Would that be right?
Possibly, they're still working that out at the moment, so I'm happy with that. I want Matthew done, dusted, away, and let's all gear up for Paul Smith, and let's all he brings home I think it'll be the UK's 6th world champion. that'll be a fantastic achievement, and especially for Paul. Everyone, he's a real gone kid. Do you know what I mean? I said to him afterwards, I'll nickname you the comeback kid, even this lad. Do you know what I mean? So listen, just got to go out there, and I've done my job. He's got to go out there now and do his job. How highly would this rank in the gym's boxing achievements if Paul Smith wins a world title in Germany? Listen, it's got to be right up there, definitely right up there. Quigg, Crawler's had some great nights, Matthew Macklin's had great nights, European, John Murray did, Brandon Rios and that, but Paul Smith to come and fight an established, well-known world champion in Germany, and Kiel isn't like new for Abraham. Abraham's fought here 3 times before, and to pull that off in front of, I've been told there'll be like 4 million viewers watching it on German TV, 8,000 in the arena. It's like, wow, just puts hairs in the back. You've got the Sky viewers as well. Oh, you've got all the Sky viewers, everyone watching. That thing with Sky, the good thing about it, I've got friends there now over this week that are in Portugal, some are in Spain, and that's the thing with Sky, you come away in Europe, you're watching it, and Paul Smith will be on bars all over, and he wins that. Listen, the big fights are there for him, aren't they? The Andre Wards, there's a Stieglitz-Stern fight that's happening, he can fight the winner of them, and he's back in with Froch and Groves and Froch and De Gale, they'll be all wanting a shot at him, but listen, Paul Smith's living the dream at the moment, and no one would have thought that a couple of years ago when he lost to De Gale and George Groves, and I've heard a bit of stick, people saying, oh, he's undeserving. How can he be undeserving? What? He's been around, he served his time, he won the British title, he had a good ranking with the organisation, and he got a voluntary. It's a voluntary. There's fighters every week getting opportunities of world titles. There's voluntaries. I'd say Lee Purdy. Who'd say Lee Purdy was worthy of his title shot? Gary Lockett at the time of Pavlik, Michael Jennings and Cotto. There's lists of enders, and we're not digging anyone else, but I just think it's unfair stick to say that about Paul Smith, do you know what I mean? And there'll be other people that deserve the world title, that get a world title shot. But you know what? I think that's only the minority. So it's only a very small minority that are just jealous. And the thing is everyone that's actually sending us good luck message and everything else. Do you know what? At the end of the day, it don't matter. You've got your chance. Go out there, lad, and absolutely do your best and go and get it. And that's all they do. And whether you're American or whether, that's just the nature. It's just go out there and let's get behind Paul Smith and do it. And then people that are a bit bitter in that, then it's like, well, that's a sad reflection on yourselves. It's just like, you'd all want it if it was you. What you're supposed to do, get a world title opportunity, say no thanks, well, I'll pass up on that one and I'll just carry on trying to win my British outright or anything else, do you understand? So you get a world title. I'm sure David A. Klitschko offered him, he ain't got to say, no, sorry, I've not earned it. On Tyson Fury, no, I've not earned it, or whoever else. I'm sure if Billy Joe was offered a world title shot, he's not going to say, no, I'm not earned it. Do you know what I mean? It's behave yourselves, do you understand? It's like, that's not digging any of them fighters out, by the way. I'm just saying, people get opportunities sometimes, you've got to get it with both hands. So, there you go. Joe, thank you for your time. I appreciate your words. You've left me really motivated now. I feel like I could do a 6-rounder myself after listening to you, Joe. Oh, no, listen, it's so... Maybe 3 rounds. Yeah, no, 3 minutes. So, not 3 rounds of toast, by the way. Yeah, so, no, I just hope, Paul, and just want to say thank you to everyone back home who are sending endless texts, tweets, messages on Facebook, Instagram, for all the support, not just for me, but for Matthew Macklin, Paul Smith Jr. and all the lads out here. It's very much appreciated, and we've got to do our damn hardest to win that world title. Thanks. Thank you, Joe. No problem.